we started down a certain road. We started down the road of partnering with an AI company called Veritone. And the folks at the working level and myself were unbelievably excited. And if you came to the January forum, the entire presentation was all Veritone. They gave the presentation, how excited they were to be partnering with us. They work with many clients in government, in defense, in Congress, Fox News, huge clientele. And in their travels, they see how people are solving problems, and they said it's a circus compared to how we do it. So on the ground level, they loved it. This past week, that all came to a screeching halt because the executives were worried about the financial piece of it. In other words, the risk that they would take by having a platform where you could load all your sensitive information, even though they're FedRAMP approved. But they were afraid that if they get hacked and we lose information that came from the nuclear weapon sites, the nuclear utilities, that it was too much liability. So they decided they didn't want to work with us and our clientele. So the project was killed. I have some clear direction of how to pivot in this AI strategy with our clientele, because it's important for me to use it and it's important for you to learn to use it as well. We're going to go from having some corporation like Veritone develop a user interface, and if I develop it and I try to sell it to you, I turn into a software developer slash reseller. And that's not what I am. We are a training organization, and we get asked to do consulting once in a while. Instead, we're going to figure out how to develop AI agents with your AI, whoever you bought. So each of your companies, you might have bought the Google Gemini or the Microsoft Copilot, which I prefer because everything we do is in Microsoft, or OpenAI's ChatGPT. So there's lots of choices out there. They're already well established. They have the FedRAMP versions, right, that protect your data very well. So whoever your company wants to go out and buy, they're not buying it from me. So we're going to figure out how to develop AI agents in general, and then we're going to teach each one of our clients how to use it with BlueDragon. And that's the key here, right? But you bring your own AI to the table. And I guarantee you, if I can see a show of hands or somehow put something on the chat, how many of you are already playing around with AI with your own AI agents? I bet you that's something that's already happening. So, and we'll comment on that. Yes, I see hands already. We're going to comment on this. Once I show you this, we're going to stop and we're going to have a really good discussion. Okay. So I'd like to use the March forum as a brainstorming session. How are we going to use AI? I have my own ideas. I'd love to hear all of your ideas because this is all new to everyone. How are we going to develop an AI agent that works for us and does the data analysis that we want it to do? How to train the agent, how to test these agents. What is the level of security? How do we achieve the right level of security? Can we have commercial grade stuff for all the little stuff and then the expensive stuff for ultra sensitive investigations? And there's not a lot of those, by the way. So we really need to hash this out. And I love to use March to do that. In the meantime, I would ask you to research and bring to the table who your company is either already using or is considering buying, right? Who's going to be your AI provider? And do you have folks within your IT organization that are already skilled at working with AI to develop and train what we call an AI agent? And your first question is, what the heck is an AI agent? Well, I had to figure that out myself. So I'm going to show you a couple of things. First of all, I want to show you how far we got with the Veritone AI interface that we were playing around with. And then I'm going to show you how to create an AI agent with the Microsoft Copilot Studio ecosystem. So we've been playing around with that. So let's show you this particular chart. And Los Alamos was gracious enough to loan us their information, their files, right? So I've talked to Robbie Harris. It took them maybe a half hour less to load, I don't know, 50 files. into the AI interface, right? Into the agent. And then the folks at Veritone had programmed it to do data analysis, compare the basics of here's the requirements, here are the performance documents, the occurrence reports, the witness statements, right? So that's what we did. 2 folders with all these files. And then we had to train it to say, okay, we need you to compare performance against the applicable standards. And so here's what happened. So this is the actual investigation that was completed. So we used the finished one to put it all together. And in case you're curious, I had to deal with an issue where a lathe, a very heavy lathe, was being moved around and it wasn't done properly with the right personnel. And it fell and actually knocked 2 people over when it fell off of the things that we're moving it with. So that's the basic issue. But we trained the AI interface. And after a half hour of loading information, we said, give us a timeline. We clicked the button. 5 seconds later, we had this timeline on the little chat window, right? You ask a question, it gives you an answer. There it is. All this thing came out in a nice little stream. It gave us a timeline in about 3 to 5 seconds. The next thing was, the big picture was, hey, okay, I want you to find every deviation between all these performance documents and all of our requirements, the procedures for Los Alamos. And it spit out in a table, right? And it labeled it, equipment usage deviations. Number 1, pallet jacks. Number 2, this and that. So it spit out all this information in terms of deviations from the requirements. But then I said, well, I don't want it in that format. I want it in a line of inquiry question. So I want you to turn it all into questions. So it rewrote everything into questions like this. That took 5 seconds. Okay, maybe 10. So in the span of 10 seconds here, 5 seconds there, 15 seconds after the prompt, we have all this information. And then I went and asked my admin, Michelle, hey, Michelle, take this little chat window, copy all of this stuff, and put them in individual Post-its. Just put them in a Post-it. I know where it goes. I'll do that later. So the admin took 20 minutes to copy and paste one by one into Post-its that I had simply created blanks. So she copied and pasted them in here. So now we're talking a half hour input, seconds to put this out, another 20, 30 minutes to get all this stuff back on a chart. And we're playing with fire now. All right. So all this, then the human comes back and goes, all right, let me take a look at this. I see where all of my questions fit when I overlay them over the top of the human questions. And I see where the humans perhaps didn't ask certain questions that are pretty important, right? All the black ones are the ones that we would have used. And there were some things that weren't considered, which I thought were important. So that was good. And then, you notice these gray boxes, right? So the AI gave us questions that I thought, oh, too much. I don't need that. Or it's too redundant. You're asking the same kind of thing 8 times, 8 different ways. So, or it's too much in the weeds. And I don't ask those type of questions. Or in some cases, it asked who questions. So I said, okay, we're going to train this thing not to ask who questions. We need to rephrase them. So we did that. So the humans are still totally actively engaged, screening the questions and making sure that we have a good set of questions to go on to phase 2 with. Now, there was one more thing that I did. So Los Alamos gave us the procedures they thought were necessary. But you know that every procedure has a reference section, right? So each procedure has like 10 references listed. So when we took all the procedures, I asked AI, okay, I want you to look at all the references and all the procedures and tell me which ones we don't have in our hands. 3 seconds later, I had a list of 60 things. And I went through them all and said, okay, you know what? I don't need this. This is irrelevant. I don't need all these references. I need a few that are relevant. I want the one on forklifts and PPE and stop work. So again, the human is actively managing what's going into this. And I go back to the client and say, okay, we need these additional forms and procedures that are referenced that we think are relevant. We want to make sure we consider those requirements when we ask the AI agent to do its thing. All right. So that is how I envision using AI, is to actually do the phase one data analysis. And now I'm also told, because we did not get a chance to actually experiment with it, that first of all, it's multimodal. So AI agents by the minute, by the day, by the month are becoming multimodal. So they'll be able to interpret charts and graphs. And I don't know if it's currently ready or not, but MP3 audio, MP4 video. You can load videos from YouTube, from the internet, from things that happen, and it can analyze those as well. Right? So multimodal is the end game where it can analyze just about anything you want to throw in here. Very good. The other thing is, you know that it can do data analysis on raw quantifiable data, like your corrective action program database. Let's print it on an Excel spreadsheet, feed it, and say we need to know. We can do trending and analysis by AI prompts. So that's a big deal for me. I love Excel spreadsheets. I love to do trending and analysis with Excel spreadsheets. So this is where we are. It's in its infancy. We're walking around trying to figure out how to do all this. And here's one of the things. To do this, by what I was trying to do was hire a company to do this for me and put it together, and then I was going to sell it. Well, the development cost is between $100,000 and $200,000. The cost for FedRAMP approval of a new piece of software is around $700,000 in 12 to 18 months. So what the company was trying to tell me is that I might have to borrow $1 million to do business with them. And I said, no, that's not happening. So, well, there has to be another way. And that's what I went and reached out to consultants. And the better idea is, let's use pre-existing trillion-dollar companies like Microsoft and let's train them. All right, so here it is. I have owned Microsoft Copilot now for months. I've been playing around with it. It's pretty cool. They have Copilot Studio. And by the way, this is $30 a month, right? So it's not the $1 million solution. And they already have, when you click on create, all of these preloaded agents are here. Each one of these is an agent that you can click and start using. It's already got the prompts. You just have to feed it your source data, right? So let's play around, because I don't want these. I want my own. So we go over here to agents and let's create one together right now. I've already played around a little bit. So this is the nice thing. No coding is necessary, although it takes an expert to really do this well. So, okay, what would you like to make? And I would like to make a BlueDragon test agent. Very good. So now it's going to start asking me questions like, what is this supposed to do? What's going on over here? Let's get into some of the details. And I'm going to do this rather quickly because I have some things to copy and paste in here, preloaded. All right. Here's the behavior. It wants to know what to do. So here's what I want it to do. I want this agent to be designed to analyze data provided by us and generate insights based on the analysis. Give us clear, concise explanation of the insights, making sure it's accurate and relevant, right? So you type in the behavior that you're looking for as efficiently and accurately as possible, okay? Very good. Now, data sources. All right, so data sources is something else. It wants websites and it wants files. So I'll show you this. So I put the BlueDragon website in here, and I'd also like to put the Code of Federal Regulations. Why not? I put the ENCFs on there for fun. And so with no further refinements, it's going to get this thing ready. So look how quickly we're moving through building this agent. Okay. Now over here, I'm going to go to configure, because it's going to allow me to add some more knowledge bases. So if I do that, this is where I get to add files. from my SharePoint. Okay. So I can browse my Microsoft ecosystem and bring in folders, complete folders. And I like to label the folders, hey, this is the performance folder, and this is going to be the requirements folder. And all the procedures and documents and forms and everything you need is going to be in there. Okay. And you can create a separate agent like I'm doing now for each individual investigation if you want. So you're really encapsulating and sort of corralling an investigation at a time, right? So we'll leave that alone for now. We'll cancel this and we'll go straight to create. And the agent is coming alive. We spent less than 10 minutes. And yes, if you're going to load information, it's going to take you longer, right? And if you have other URLs that are relevant, load them in here. You can use some public available information as well. So here's the agent. It's ready. And there's your chat box on the right. And it's still in the test mode. You can see up here that it's still in the test mode. Okay. It tells you what knowledge you brought in, knowledge bases. And it gets much more sophisticated than that, by the way. There's triggers, there's automation. So here's the overview. Look across the top. Here's the knowledge I brought in. Here's topics for you to work with. Here's actions to add, activities to display, analytics, channels, like Microsoft Teams. So this gets really sophisticated. That's what I mean. If you have an IT guy who's an expert, this is fantastic. Okay. So now it works like a normal chat. You have your chat window on the right and you start asking a question like, let me just describe what is the BlueDragon system for solving problems, because the only knowledge base I have is actually the website. So I give it the problem, it goes retrieve it, and it's going to answer the question based on the knowledge base that you gave it to answer questions with. And there it is. It's a problem-solving system designed to address complex issues through a structured and systematic approach that involves the following steps. Okay? So there's the answer based on what you gave it. So that's how a agent or an AI agent works. And again, I am sure it gets very sophisticated. The more you know, the better off you are. And so there's some training courses that I was going to jump on, like 10 hours of training. But do I have that kind of time? I don't know. I'd like to find someone who can do this. And this is where we are. That is the extent of what's happened in the last few months. A lot went into just getting that model to work with that Los Alamos proof of concept. There were 2 developers working on it, and they had to meet with me several times so I could tell them, no, this is what we really wanted to do, or it really needs to do for us. But it's all doable, and it's all going to get easier by the minute. Okay? So that's what we have going on. And now I'd like to turn over to you all for questions, comments on whether you're using it, AI already, whether you've had some research that you might want to share. And for others, I'd like you to prep yourselves for the March session so we can really have an informative exchange of information. I was redundant. So we can have a great exchange of information and really give ourselves a big boost in dramatically shortening the time it takes to do the data analysis, which usually takes us a week or 2, sometimes more. And it can and be more accurate than the humans are, with the humans completely in charge of the whole operation and screening what actually goes on the final chart. So that's where we are. All right, questions or comments?
I'll just say nice pivot, Rob.
Hey, Andrew.
How are you, brother?
Yeah, I had to pivot away from the $1 million solution to the $30 a month solution, if you will, or whatever the companies
I'm
want to
always
buy.
here. So you need the $1,000,000.
Yeah, no, but I suspect once we get BlueDragon playing with fire with AI, it'll also become more attractive, more appealing to many more clients and many more industries, which have never even gotten to the level of efficiency that BlueDragon has, let alone BlueDragon enhanced by AI. So I believe this will be It's a big news, a big deal once we can figure it all out in the next few months, right? So, excellent. Andrew, by the way, people see you once in a while. I'd love for you to introduce yourself and tell everyone what you do and how fortunate I am that I got to meet you and we became friends. But Andrew is not the typical guy that comes to these meetings, by the way. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, so I'm a former business owner and an investor. I'm an angel investor with Think Inc. That's our company, and we're very very happy to see companies like Vistra, Oakleo, and some other SMR, some new startups hit the nuclear space with those modular reactors. Really exciting technology that's coming down. So I think it bodes well for everybody on the call for career opportunities because nuclear is going to be a really a more significant part of our energy picture moving forward. But mostly what I do is I finance startups, usually in the seed to Series A stage. And you know, I met Rob actually coming back from Berkeley on an airplane, and we had 6 hours together. And he showed me one screen of BlueDragon, and I was like, I have to know this. So
He
I went
actually
through.
took the course. Andrew is
I'm a
actually a
PD
graduate.
too. Yes, and really learned a lot. Loved the technology. I can't see how you can go wrong with it because it's so thorough and inclusive. I'm also a Six Sigma black belt, so I can draw some clear lines between Six Sigma, what the functions of Lean Six Sigma and the main Six Sigma, what those functions are and how they differ. But Rob's fantastic. I love everything he does. I'm disappointed that that company nillied out just over a little bit of hacking. Uh, but I can understand how nobody wants to touch the red hot potato.
Uh,
But I will say you've done a fantastic job with the tools that you have available, Rob. I'm just always impressed with you and your team.
Andrew, very kind of you. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for being here as well. So, Brad, I know you guys were playing around with AI. How far have you gotten?
Yes. So we are still at the playing around and testing it phases, similar to like what you're doing with the Microsoft version. So we have our own in-house GPT that we're using, and we're using it to get through phase one. I'm still using it to double check my work and see, did we capture all of the documents we wanted to look at? Or is there anything else we're missing? But we're still in that we got to double check what it's giving us stage at this point. Of course, we'll use it to clean up language here and there and the administrative aspects of it. But to actually do the legwork, that's what we're pushing for. Is as you demonstrated, it can shrink those 2 weeks down dramatically if we get it working right. So we're definitely listening, ears perked for any tips on prompt engineering to get these AI agents to play.
It's very difficult. It's not easy, by the way. It does take some expertise. There's actually AI that helps you with AI prompts. That's so funny. Have you gone multimodal, Brad? And I see Ryan and then Betsy. But one last question, Brad. Have you gone multimodal? Have you gone into charts, graphs, spreadsheets, KPIs?
Um, we've played a bit with recording sessions and have it, translate that stuff and pull out notes. We've certain areas have done some data analysis with it. So different users have figured out different ways of doing pieces in there. I'm still trying to get my prompt set up so I can get it to kick out the charts I need. So I'm testing it compared to my Pareto charts. I'm like, how do I get it to look like that? I'm already done on the other side. So
No, yeah, it's a heck of a learning curve, right? We're all going to learn it together, though. I'd like us to grow in this sort of in parallel with each other, learn from each other, and end up where we all have best practices, right? That's the ideal. Let's share in our best practices as a community and help each other out, get to that next level. And time is money. So if you can shave 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off of a root cause, you can do more of them with less resources, with more accuracy. The ROI goes through the roof. Let's go to Ryan and then Betsy.
Hey, Rob, good to see you.
Thank you, likewise.
So I have not used this with BlueDragon yet, but I'm just really excited to start getting into AI and understanding its power and how it can definitely help me with the workload that I've got. So I haven't gotten far at all with any of this.
Very good. But you see the drive all across every industry. Every industry knows that AI is coming. We need to be early adopters, is what I'm saying. Also, think about in terms of, again, finances, money. That's what executives understand. So you need to monetize the use of artificial intelligence. And one of the ways to do it is by saving the time spent on tasks, right? You know, it can write a letter for you in seconds. You can solve really seriously complex issues in days now instead of weeks and months. We were already efficient, and I think this is just taking us to a whole nother level. Thanks, Ryan. How about Betsy and then David? Always
Just
Betsy.
a quick comment, Rob. So first off, you've got a couple of questions in the chat. So I don't know if you're able to see the chat, but
Thank
you
you,
should
ma'am.
take a look
I
at
will
that and
now.
answer those. And just really a little comment. I know how disappointing it must have been because Veritone, I know we were all super excited to see the demo, and I know how excited you were having seen the demo.
Yes.
So that's too bad. But I do think next month if we all come back with sort of the various chat GPTs and Geminis and all of that, that'll be a good starter point. And then maybe what we could do is put together like some cheat sheets, because sometimes it's just a matter of sort of knowing how to ask the right question to get the right info. So maybe that could be kind of a quick win for us getting going.
Absolutely. I love the idea. Come to the table, maybe demo for us what you've done so far, how far you've gotten, right? With some non-controversial stuff. And then let's compile a cheat sheet. I love the idea. What prompts work for you? And I can collect them and send them right back out to everyone. So great idea, Betsy. Thank you so much. All right, David. And I'll get to the couple of questions here as soon as David gives us his comments or questions.
Okay, so we're currently kind of in the playing around phase, training up phase. I would tell you there is a good free, well, I know it was free a couple weeks ago. I don't know if it's still free, but a free training through LinkedIn. It's called Career Essentials in Generative AI by Microsoft and
Put it
LinkedIn.
in the chat. Put it in the chat, David.
Okay.
They'd love to see that.
I don't have it up, but I'll put it in the chat. It's a free course. It dives into Copilot, obviously Microsoft, but one thing I do, it also discuss ethics, the ethics portion, which I think is going to end up playing huge, especially for our side of the house. So we did that, and right now we're playing around with ChatGPT because that's what we have on ours right now. One thing I will tell you is the fishbone diagram, doesn't matter what type of prompt you use, does not come out correct. It just goes all kinds of crazy. It's not good. So you're gonna have to find a workaround for that one.
Yeah,
Other than
don't
that,
use
I think
it. Don't use the fishbone.
Yeah.
You know my feeling.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So other than that, we're getting ready to get started on using that for our next assessment, which is coming up in about a week or two. So myself, Robbie,
Right.
and Katie are going to be, elbows deep in that one. So
Yeah, I'm deeply motivated to use this with the upcoming Vistra review of outage issues, and also show it to the leadership at OPG when they get ready to make their decision, and a couple of other projects. I think the sooner the better. And I'd like to start teaching it in March or April at the latest, so we can teach how to use AI with BlueDragon Phase 1. I don't have a lot of confidence that it can be used in Phase 2, where humans have to talk to humans. read the room. AI can't do that. And then phase 3, maybe. I don't know. I haven't got that far. Phase 1 is hard enough, right? Couple of questions. Lance from Westinghouse, for the proof of concept test that we showed you from Los Alamos, how many files were uploaded? There were about 50 files, I'll say, and there were about 20 to 30 in each folder. Of one folder was called performance, so it was everything that documented what happened. So the witness statements, the occurrence reports, anything that looked like that, the forms that were filled out, the work orders. So everything that was done by the organization to execute the work is performance. And then the other folder was requirements, right? The procedures that managed all of the work. And you can take it as far up as you want. You can go through the local procedures. You can go to the Department of Energy orders. You can go to policy, standards, expectations. And if you need to, go all the way up to the Code of Federal Regulations. So it depends how thorough you want to be, right? So that was the answer to that one. Rice, Lance, if you have any other question, let me know. And then Rushi, I mean, with what kind of other system and software BlueDragon can be interfaced? SQL, Power BI for data. Yeah, there is no limit because it's a standalone. So if you want to do phase 1 data analysis with any other kind of tech, absolutely go for it. What we're looking for in phase 1 are insights into what went wrong. We're looking for symptoms. And symptoms are deviations, nonconformances, noncompliances. So we're looking to analyze what happened against what should have happened, or through data analysis of quantifiable data, like Pareto analysis of spreadsheets, what are the big hitters? What are the big problem areas, right? Or with control charts, what are my deviations? What is going out of control? So I'm looking for insights. I turn those into questions and go to phase 2. So I'm trying to train AI to do as much of it as possible. But if you want to use another kind of a thing to do more research, yeah, by all means. So that's that answer.
You know, Rob, it struck me when I saw you sending Copilot some information about BlueDragon, and you just sent the website. When I had been working on updating my bio, I had fed a lot of stuff into Chat GPT and kind of said, "Hey, help me write this," like as if you were a professional writer. But what kind of a neat thing I did at the end is I said, "Now that we've had this long discussion about me and who I am, can you give me a prompt that I can later give you that will tell you who I am, in like 100 words." I thought this might be helpful for you with BlueDragon. Maybe you could sit down with ChatGPT or AI, whatever AI, the AI Copilot, and have it assemble kind of a prompt, if you will, that would encompass all of the key points of the BlueDragon method. I know that your knowledge would be very difficult to condense into a couple of, pages, but having the AI develop a prompt for other AIs, I just wanted to give you that idea and see what you thought about it.
Great idea. No, it's a brilliant idea, especially once the AI is kind of trained and has already answered a lot of questions and knows what you're asking, or has that
you
in
could
memory.
Just feed it the manual, I think, and I don't think it'll take videos, but it's amazing how much data it can read through.
I know, I love it.
And then
I'm starting
to condense that, just a thought. I do this kind of stuff a lot with ChatGPT, where I spend time shaping, and then I always ask it for some kind of output, so that if I need to restart from here, what would I tell you? And it does a pretty good job.
That's actually some really good advice. I really like that. And as I use AI every day, multiple times a day for different tasks, that's a really good one. It's going to be easy to implement.
Yeah, see, that way you could just have a kind of a dumped prompt page, right, where people could go to a certain URL, and that would actually be all prompt language.
That's pretty neat. Well done. Yeah. Hey, Charity's back.
Okay. Right, so the key last time was hitting the unmute button. So here I am. Okay, so I am at Nevada National Security Site, and my organization area and my scope is in infrastructure. And within the infrastructure area, we've got a consultant developing what they're calling SAFER, but it's basically a consolidation of lots and lots of data from different places. And when you're talking about using AI, it has to have data as its base to do the research, to answer your questions, all those kind of things. And I'm wondering if anyone from the national labs has used SAFER or one of the other tools that are integrated with it in any of your BlueDragons, or if you're looking at it. And if you haven't, if you've got an infrastructure related analysis that you're going to do, I would suggest contacting your infrastructure people and asking for that data.
Anyone use SAFER? This is all so new. I'm surprised that that's a one-off for the moment.
I've never used it, but I know that Y12 is using it. So Charity, I don't know if that's where they got it from, but
okay.
Yeah.
Very good. If you don't have contacts at Y12, let me know, Charity. We'll put you in touch with someone. Miss Fiona.
Hey, Rob, thanks. Yeah, I think at OPG right now, we've got, we call Chat OPG, Microsoft Copilot, and we do have some multi-model AI capabilities that we're using. I know that we did run into some of the same challenges and questions originally when we started implementing Chat GPT or Chat OPG. To ensure that there was security around what it was actually able to access. And I know that's still a factor. So I am interested in maybe either having a call set up for us with one of my IT guys to talk about that a little bit more, because I know we're having those conversations. I just don't know how far we've gotten with it. So I'd like us to be able to have that conversation with somebody that has some more in-depth knowledge around that. But that's what I'd like to do next for us.
Fantastic. Yeah. I don't think I mentioned it, but these platforms like Microsoft Copilot Studio has a secure version, a government version. But to qualify to even be able to buy it and use it, you have to meet these standards. You have to be a government agency or a major government contractor. It costs more money. It's not the $30 a month variety, if you could guess. They're trying to recover the millions they spend in getting FedRAMP approved and developing the safeguards to protect your information. So they're not cheap, but they all have a secure, like Lucid, right? Lucid has a Lucid Gov that we can use the whiteboard for sensitive stuff. And then there's the normal commercial one. So it is there. And those big companies can afford it, right? So, but I don't know enough. I just told you everything I knew. Good idea, Fiona, though. Let's set up that call. Anyone else? I know we're coming up on the hour. We're past the hour, actually. So thanks for sticking around. And I will be here as long as you want. If I've got 36 people on the screen, I'm going to stick around and answer your questions. You're welcome to drop off, though. Thanks for being here. We will see you in March for our AI brainstorming session, and we'll advertise it. And we hope that you've done some research.